PFERD CSX tools, which is more or less the same as the Stihl 2-in-1. And I'm going to got a few bad spots on this chain. I want to try to get it fixed up. And so here on this one, I roll back to the middle of the round file, and if you look here, I've got the direction wrong. You see that handle's going that way, but if I look here, the handle should be going this way and the arrow going this way. And so I've got to make sure that I line up those pictures correctly. Much better. You can hear the difference in the sound there. Now, the top angles I can keep fairly close here, and that would be correct on this one. So my top angle's a little bit off from my field filing, and so that straightens that right back up. Now I don't apply pressure down into the tooth, I apply the pressure back into the radius. And so here now, a little bit of point damage, push through, because this works very similar to the single unit. The actual tool rests on the tooth in front and the one that I'm sharpening. So it indexes off the top slant of the tooth. And so as I file back, it's actually lowering, it's taking the depth gauges at the same time. I started off where my connector link was, so I know when I get back around to that position, I'll be in good shape as far as making sure I have hit all of the teeth. I don't know of anything that's much faster other than maybe a machine grinder, but in the field, that's hard to have. Here I can be able to use this in the shop and also in the field. Always want to use gloves when I'm sharpening. It's pretty easy to slip, and I don't want to be able to slide across. Now this particular tool, it stays 90 degrees straight, square corner there to the tooth and the bar. And I want to make sure that I try to hold that evenly. The surface that it's cutting doesn't go down into the gullet of the tooth. And it's really not that necessary. As the tooth gets a little more worn, it will tend to drop down some with the guide. Right now, the side, the point, and the chisel angle is being set up. So that's got that one back around to the attachment point. So now I'll recheck. I need my handle on the photo going this way with the actual line going forward. So that's going to be in this position here. And let's see, where's my marker again? That's up here. So I'm going to be working in this area here now. I'm looking for any damage in the points, applying pressure back into the radius of the tooth. I had 2 or 3 of the teeth that I had in the field had some damage on. Hit a rock or something in the wood. And so I have, as filing through here with this It actually took the depth gauges down a little bit farther, but that's how it's supposed to. This works in progression with the tooth that I'm following on.
I don't apply any pressure except going forward. I come away from the tooth slightly. Sometimes it'll bump against it, but I come away from that tooth slightly in the backstroke. And as long as no major damage, that's going all the way around, and everything looks to be in pretty good shape there now. A lot of people don't believe these nuts will actually tighten themselves because the side covers are aluminum and magnesium. I mean, they have to be snugged down, but temperature changes as the temperature on the saw changes. All of that tends to swell up and tighten the nuts. Putty drywall blade here works really good. Clean out those rails. And you can see that gets in there and clogs up the rail from oil hole. Happens very quickly too. Sprocket tip's working good. Oregon power cut. Pull off the top cover. Check out any buildup. And we need to work on that filter just a little bit. Yeah, definitely. Always take a look at your sprocket, making sure that the wear there is not more than about 25 thousandths of an inch, about the thickness of your thumbnail. You want to make sure that any indentions in that rim or a spur type sprocket any deeper than that, and it's probably about time to replace it. I want to check is taking a look at the caps, and you can see the buildup on there, and more or less a lot of people have trouble with caps, oil caps, fuel caps leaking, and I found a lot of it has to do with the debris that gets around the O-ring and around the seal. And so you want to make sure that you keep that blown out. Be careful if you're using your air hose. You don't want to get too close to the opening of the tank because it'll siphon the oil or gas out and spray towards you. So just hold it away from and clean those edges, and then just take a rag and wipe around the orifice there of the opening. That'll keep them from leaking. Same thing on the fuel cap. The dust gets around that edge. I said be very careful around the edges of the tank not to get debris in there, but if you have fuel in there, oil in there, you spray across the top, it'll siphon it and spray it out towards you. Go back on with everything.
I always, to put it back on, I just set the bar onto the studs, take the chain, depth gauge forward to the point, lay it into the rail, around the sprocket, and into the rail, push back slightly and go around the tip of the bar, and just pull out and back up to your same location as far as your setting goes. Then you can thumb tight your nuts. You don't want to tighten those down until you adjust the tension. And so here now you can see it's a little bit loose there. So I'm going to turn clockwise just until it touches. The adjuster on this one is there on the side plate. Now I can I want to just snap back in, but move freely around. It's actually just a little bit too tight right there. The nuts kind of snugged it up there just a little. So I'm going to loosen back up, go against it, and now tighten it down. And it doesn't take a 6-foot pry bar. Just snug them down to the cover, and we're ready to go. And that's a little step of reducing downtime.